Frank Okunak is a New York-based business executive and advisor known for guiding organizations through growth, restructuring, and change. Across more than 3 decades, his work has centered on accountability, operational discipline, and long-term resilience. On some mornings, Frank Okunak is not in a conference room or reviewing a financial model. He is volunteering at Eva's Kitchen in Paterson, New Jersey, helping serve meals and tutor individuals rebuilding their lives. The setting is far from the corporate environments where he spent much of his career, yet the work reflects the same pattern that has defined his leadership for decades. Show up. Pay attention. Take responsibility for what is in front of you. This instinct to engage directly with problems, rather than work around them, runs through Okunak's professional life. Whether leading a global firm, advising startups, or supporting people in his community, his career follows a consistent thread. Identify what is not working. Address it early. Build systems that hold. Okunak grew up in Paterson, New Jersey, a city shaped by industry, decline, and renewal. He went on to earn a Bachelor of Science in Business Management from Rutgers University, followed by a Master of Business Administration from the University of Notre Dame's Mendoza College of Business. At Notre Dame, he also studied psychology, an influence that would later inform his interest in organizational behavior, ethics, and leadership. From the start, his training leaned towards structure and realism. Finance and operations appealed to him not as abstract disciplines, but as tools for understanding how organizations actually function. The early years of his career placed him close to decision-making, resource allocation, and the consequences of poor planning. Those experiences would shape how he approached leadership later on. Before his most visible role, Okunak built experience across senior finance and operations positions, often within complex organizations facing change. His work included business restructuring, performance management, and strategic planning. Over time, he became known for translating strategy into execution and for asking direct questions about sustainability. Rather than focusing on short-term momentum, his approach emphasized durability. He paid attention to how decisions affected people, systems, and culture. That balance between numbers and human impact became a defining trait of his leadership style. In 2008, Okunak joined Weber Shandwick as Chief Operating Officer. The firm was already a major global player in public relations and communications, operating across markets and time zones. The challenge was scale. Growth required coordination, discipline, and consistency at a time when the industry itself was being reshaped by digital change. As COO, Okunak oversaw global operations, financial management, and internal systems. His responsibilities included building planning frameworks, improving utilization metrics, and strengthening human resources processes to support compliance and development. He also helped expand learning programs and mentoring initiatives, including efforts tied to diversity and inclusion. During his 14 years in the role, the firm navigated industry shifts that forced many agencies to rethink their models. Okunak's work focused less on chasing trends and more on reinforcing the foundations that allowed the organization to adapt without losing cohesion. The emphasis was on clarity, accountability, and execution across regions. After leaving Weber Shandwick in 2022, Okunak moved into an advisory role with IPM. The shift marked a change in pace but not in focus. His work now centers on guiding leadership teams through operational improvement, growth planning, and moments of inflection. Much of this advisory work involves early-stage companies and organizations under pressure. The pattern he encounters is familiar. Many teams move quickly but overlook fundamentals. Planning is thin. Cash flow assumptions are optimistic. Roles are unclear. In these settings, Okunak's value lies in slowing the conversation just enough to introduce structure. His guidance often returns to basics: clear business plans, realistic projections, understanding competition, building buffers for uncertainty. These are not abstract principles, but practical guardrails shaped by years inside large and small organizations alike. A phrase closely associated with Okunak's thinking is "fix what needs fixing." It appears across his writing and interviews and captures how he approaches leadership. The idea is not perfection, but honesty. Problems ignored tend to grow. Problems addressed early become manageable. This mindset frames resilience not as endurance alone, but as adaptation. Okunak's work reflects an emphasis on early signals, open communication, and continuous improvement. Small inefficiencies matter. Cultural issues matter. Leaders who confront these realities early tend to preserve trust and momentum. The approach draws on ideas similar to continuous improvement models, where progress comes from steady refinement rather than dramatic overhauls. In practice, that means questioning workflows, inviting feedback, and treating mistakes as information rather than failure. Okunak's career includes leading teams through restructuring and transformation, including situations where change was met with resistance. In those moments, his focus shifted from financial models to communication. Transparency became central. People needed to understand not just what was changing, but why. His leadership style during these periods reflected a belief that trust is built through clarity. When individuals understand their role in a new structure, uncertainty decreases. Over time, that clarity creates alignment and shared ownership of outcomes. Rather than positioning leadership as directive, Okunak's pattern has been collaborative and hands-on. He engages directly with teams, listens for friction points, and works through trade-offs openly. The result is often slower at the outset, but more stable over time. Outside formal roles, Okunak has remained active as a mentor to young professionals. His guidance emphasizes curiosity, preparation, and personal responsibility. Careers are treated as evolving paths rather than linear ladders. Skills should be developed before titles change. Learning is continuous. His volunteer work at Eva's Kitchen adds another dimension to this perspective. Serving and tutoring in Paterson keeps him connected to realities far removed from corporate metrics. The work reinforces the idea that leadership carries responsibility beyond the office. Service becomes a grounding force, offering perspective on what matters and why. The current business environment is defined by uncertainty. Economic cycles shift quickly. Technology changes faster than structures. In this context, Okunak's career offers a counterpoint to reactive leadership. His focus on discipline, preparation, and accountability speaks to the need for steadier frameworks. Rather than predicting every disruption, his work suggests building organizations capable of absorbing change. Systems that surface problems early. Cultures that reward honesty. Leaders willing to address discomfort before it becomes crisis. Frank Okunak's influence is not marked by loud statements or sweeping claims. It shows up in how organizations hold together during pressure, how teams navigate change, and how leaders think about responsibility. His career follows a consistent arc from operations to advisory work, grounded in the same principles he applies in his community service. The connecting thread is practical responsibility. Fix what needs fixing. Keep improving. Stay grounded in reality. Over time, those choices compound.